Welcome to Viben Now, a collection of guided meditations put into podcast form for your easy listening. My name is Vivian Gerard, and I will be walking with you through the intoxicating now moments of life here on this planet. These audios are intended to be used as a full meditation if you want to close your eyes, settle down into a comfy spot, and let your subconscious come all the way forward. Or it can simply be some background conversation where the nuggets of information that you most need will make their way into your awareness. Whichever way it works for you, I invite you to open up and enjoy fully this journey of life that we are all taking together. So much love to you.
All right. Welcome to Soul Shine, June 12th, and we are live in my living room with this beautiful gathering of souls today, and then also virtually. So let us begin. Go ahead, connecting with your breath first. Yeah, so slow the pace of your breathing down. Yeah, notice how it's unusual for us to focus on our breath. Right? So see if you can just find the rhythm that is yours, even if you're sitting next to somebody else. Right? Focus on your breathing. And as you breathe in, do a long, slow inhale from the bottoms of your feet, from the earth underneath the building that you're in, all the way up. Fill up your lungs. And then exhale out through your mouth. And as you do that, you can feel your energy starting to drop deeper and deeper back into you. So it might take a few breaths, right? So go ahead and breathe in. And then long, slow exhale. And as you do that, it's almost like deflating a balloon, right? It's like you're sinking. That's not quite right. It's like when you do a hot air balloon and they start to take the heat out. And so the balloon comes closer and closer to the ground when they're trying to bring it down to the earth. Just imagine as you're using your breath, you're allowing yourself to come and land more inside of you as you exhale out. Yeah, and it might feel a little tight, as you come in, especially if you've been expanding, right? If you have been in a space where you feel like you've been stretching and growing and opening up to more and more of yourself, when you come into just you and you're dropping in, sometimes it's like, right? All of that new bigness can't fit into this old version of what I knew my body to be. So we're going to play with that today, but for now, see if you can just feel, if I pull all of my energy back into my body through my breath, of course it can fit in, right? Of course it can fit in. So just go ahead and notice the breath. Yeah, and just let yourself start to be magnetized back into you. As we're in community, what often happens also is we're around other people, whether it's small groups or big groups, right? We're around other people, and so sometimes it feels a little messy as we untangle our energy, as we come back into just me, I, the individual, the I am of my body. And so take a moment as you're sitting right now and just feel, whether you're live or virtual or listening to this later, feel the communities that you're in and untangle for just this moment from the people around you. And allow your energy to just come back into your physical body in this moment. Yeah, and you might have to move a little bit or shake some energy off, or maybe you need to stretch your energetic space just a little bit wider for a moment so you can kind of push away other people's energy, kind of bump theirs out so you can feel just you for a moment. I felt that when I was getting ready for this call, is this feeling of I've been so hugged and loved and cuddled and snuggled and all this beautiful energy in and around me. And what I could feel as this person who loves to merge and support and be in and around people is I just needed a moment of breathing room so I could feel what's mine, what's 100% just me, and what is actually love and energy and things from other people that I've allowed to merge into me. So I visualized just pushing a little bit of breathing space, kind of like a superhero bubble, right? I kind of pushed energy back and away a little bit so that I could feel what was just mine. So go ahead and do that for a moment for yourself. Good. And then see if you can bring your focus back to your breath and just feel you. Feel your rhythm. And know that it's just yours. Yeah, good. Good. And then go ahead and call back any of your energy that is with those that you love, those that you support, the things you have to do later, the things you forgot to do earlier, everything that's waiting for you next week that you pushed off from this weekend, right? See if you can just, for right now, pull your energy out of those things and back into you. And just let those things drop away. Yeah, and as your energy comes into you, start filling your physical body up. So you can imagine all the way down to your feet. The parts of you that are coming back in can fill up the toes, fill up the feet, fill up the legs. And so there isn't as much tightness in your chest or in your body cavity that the chakras are so busy in. You can kind of distribute your energy around your body. You might notice as you do that, for me, that's usually when I feel like I have to yawn or burp, right? When energy inside my body starts to move around, it's like, oh, right, I got to cough or sniff or, yawn. And just let the energy move through your body and settle into place. Yep, and then slowly start relaxing the muscles of your body. Yeah, so if you've got your knees locked, or your feet are gripping into the floor, or your shoulders are tight, just bring your attention to your body and start to slowly relax. All of the muscles, stretch out if you need to, loosen the bones. If you're sitting, you can feel yourself being held more by the chair that you're in. If you're laying down, you can feel the floor or the bed holding you. There you go, good. And then from this relaxed place, do one more scan or call back of your energy. Any last pieces that want to arrive for the work you're going to do next, go ahead and just call them all back in, just you. Good. Good. All right, let's do some rooting. So I want you to feel your feet, if your feet are on the floor. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can use your ankle bones. If you're laying on a bed, you can use the heels of your feet. And imagine you can start to have roots grow from the bottoms of your feet down into the earth underneath whatever building you're in. So the roots might have to go sideways all the way to the walls of the building and then down. And when the roots hit the dirt, go ahead and take your time. Visualize as the roots go in what a root would do if it was in the actual earth. So imagine it's almost like a microscope or a science experiment, right? You can kind of witness how your roots, when they hit the dirt, start poking, pushing against the dirt. And there's a way that it can feel like a fight or a battle, right? I'm going to feel the effort that it takes for the roots to make their way through the dirt. Or there's a way it can become a partnership, a co-creation, your roots and Mama Earth that holds all, right? That holds this planet that we're living on. So you choose. It could be either one, right? If it's going to be effort, the key perhaps is just to keep your body relaxed, right? And then let the roots do the effort. So just keep relaxing your muscles. If you choose to have this co-creation with the earth, there could be this beautiful opportunity for the earth to receive the roots, to make room. Yeah, it feels so good. To make room for the roots to come into the earth. Yeah, and start to be pulled down into her dirt, her space of nutrient, nourishment, rejuvenation. Yeah, so you choose. You get to choose. And then you can visualize as the roots start to make their way down, by effort or ease, either one, as they start to make their way down, they go deeper. So if you can visualize your body height underneath the earth, imagine you can go that far first. So for me, it's like 5 feet down, right? Yep, use your breath. What if you double that? What if you go another 5 feet down into the earth with your roots? And for some of us, it's like it's almost like my energy center or attention center goes down into the bottoms of the roots. So I'm almost like the scout, like in the old Native American or war era, right? You would have a scout that would go ahead to see what was happening. When I root, it feels like a part of me drops down and is sort of scouting out how far down I'm going, and then how wide the roots start to stretch. So if I stretch them out another 5 feet and 5 feet after that, in all directions. Yeah, and then you can choose, do you want to go deeper? Right, if you do, go ahead and just visualize. What if you go 100 feet down? And it can be slow and easy and gentle, right? And then when you get 100 feet down, what if you want to go 100 feet wide in all directions? This is the idea of square root, right? As you multiply in all directions, your radius gets so wide. Your framework, your foundation for your energy center gets so wide that you can actually stretch up even higher into the skies with this strong rooted web. Yeah, for some of you this may be enough, so just go ahead and pause here. If you want to go deeper, let's imagine you can go 1,000 feet down from that radius you're already at. And this time, if you want, what if it's playful? What if the roots are like, yippee, we're going down, 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 right? And they start playing. And as they go down, they're settling, partnering, playing with the earth and receiving the nutrients. And then they go 1,000 feet wide in all directions. And if you scout like I do, if you go down and scout the edges of the roots, for now, imagine you can leave the roots to keep doing what they want to do, and you can bring your attention all the way back up into your physical body in this moment, and you can start to relax the muscles. Yeah. Use your breath. Slow the pace down if it felt intense at all. Good. And then I want you to visualize in your body there's a pathway that energy can create inside your physical body so that anything that comes up or feels irritating, upsetting, doesn't serve, makes you shift in a way perhaps you don't want to, anything that comes up in the call, you can imagine that gets magnetized right into the center of your body. And then the roots that you've sent down into the ground can pull and tug at the bottoms of your feet and they can draw whatever you want to move that comes up in your body down to your feet. And then this pathway can go through the roots into the earth. And so you can have this handover with the earth of the things inside of you that you don't want to hold on to. So imagine you can focus on one thing for just a moment. What if in this moment it's intensity, right? What if the feelings in your body are just a little uncomfortable or pushing you a little in a rooting way you maybe don't want to do? So allow that intensity to be magnetized to the center of your body. And then visualize it as a color, as a shape, as a cloud, as a sensation. So give the energy some form. And then visualize the roots pulling from the bottoms of your feet, whatever that thing intensity is, down to your feet. And then you can just choose, right, to hand that over to the earth. And the roots can take it out of your body and into the earth. Yeah, and then you can feel your body relax. Because it's just an energy that comes up and you just choose to move it. Yeah, so as we move through this call, you can have this pathway in your body that just moves the energy through and out as it comes up inside of you. Good. All right, so go and relax your body again. Yeah. All right, and let's invite in support from Source, God, Creator, guides, spirits, whatever the energies are that support you from higher realms. I'll use my visual just because it's the one I'm comfortable with, but I use the word source, right? Source that creates all. So imagine you can invite in your version of what source looks and feels like to you. And it can just be a gentle sitting next to. Right, so maybe source feels more comfortable on your right, on the masculine energy side of you, or maybe source is like on your left like a mama and you just snuggle up into her lap. Maybe source is like a partner that's right in front of you. Yeah, one of my favorite moments in meditations recently was when I had this energy of a friend of mine who's passed. I could feel her. She sat down right in front of me and she just leaned her forehead against my forehead, and it was beautiful. I just started crying. There was just this outflow of emotion because the connection was so gentle and so profound. And it was just a simple arriving in front of me, leaning in and meeting me forehead to forehead. Yeah, so whatever your connection is, go ahead and just take a moment. Let's actually take a moment and just feel that. I'm going to be quiet for a minute so you can just feel how Source feels next to you or in front of you or behind you. Yeah, what if in this moment Source can reach an arm around you, to the side of you? If Source is sitting behind you, it can be a wrapping around, a snuggling up from the back. And it's the same as your partnership with the earth, right? There's a way you can sit and force or resist or involve effort for that connection. or there's a way you can allow a partner co-create what that connection looks and feels like. Yeah, so in this moment, what would Source say to you right here, right now, just because you showed up and are fully present for an exchange with Source? So funny, I always hear, job well done, right? Job well done, like in this moment, job well done for showing up. In this moment, job well done for opening your heart and sitting in the space with your Creator over and over and over. Yeah, so you can invite Source to stay right next to you and continue that conversation, continue the whispering while we move into our next topic, or you can say thank you, right? Thank you for that, and that's enough for right now. I'll show back up again, right? I'll show back up tomorrow or tonight or all week. Yeah, and let me just add, there was a feeling when I had that experience with my friend who's passed, when her energy like leaned into my forehead, there's a tendency to want to grab or hold on to that. You know, like, what if I can experience that now and it never comes back? You know, what if that not enough that my daughter always teases me about? What if this is all I get, is this moment, this connection right here and now with my friend, and then it's gone? And it's a little scary sometimes to let go of something, a beautiful exchange, right? When you and Source are side by side, or you've got Source behind your back, it's like, no, don't leave me, right? And so it requires trust in perhaps a way that you haven't trusted before, you know? I found for me, I had to grab my pen and a piece of paper and write everything down really fast. Like, what did it feel like? And, you know, what was she sharing with me? And how do I capture it so I have it to come back to? And so I invite you in this moment to feel the cells in your body, to feel the visceral connection of Source's energy right next to yours, aligned with, supporting, side by side, in front of. It's an energetic, vibrational match, you and Source. And it's different than anyone else in this moment. Feel in your cells what that feeling is, that tangible feeling. And just give it a name, give it a almost like you could take a picture of it, or like an X-ray, right? Imagine you can just capture it right now in this moment, what it feels like to have Source connect with you in that way. And then pull that into your heart space. And know it's always there. It never leaves. It never leaves. There's no need to grab for it or be afraid that it won't come back. It's a part of you. Right? It's Source in you. People say that, but this is literally what that can mean. Source in you is that level of connection. Good. And take a breath and let go as much as you want to in this moment. And then relax your muscles, relax your body. Good. Good. All right, so today we are talking about community. Of course, right? Of course, I am sitting in community with some of my favorite souls on the planet. And community, community has such a different definition, I think, now than it did 50 years ago, 100 years ago, right, 1,000 years ago. And so much of it is based on this virtual idea. You know, these advances in technology bring us this ability to virtually create communities around the world, right? From one side of the planet to another, you can start to build a community with like-minded or non-like-minded, unlike-minded people. And so as I was feeling into the topic this morning, the first word that came was trust. And I looked back through my notes from all the other calls, and I'm like, we've talked about trust. We talk about trust all the time, right? Like this thing called trust, why does it keep coming up? And what I really want to talk about is community, you know, being with people you care about. And yet they are so intertwined, right? Community is based on trust in a very different way than perhaps we've talked about it before. So the way that it showed up for me this morning, and we're just going to explore where it takes us. Community can often be compartmentalized, right? So we have a way we are in one community, a way we are in another community, and they don't always look very alike or feel similar inside of us. And so I was thinking about that when I was meditating, and I was thinking, you know, energy, the way I use energy, is constantly changing and evolving. And so the way I use energy, for example, this weekend in community is very different than the way I've used it before at different gatherings. And it took me back to when I first started learning to use energy, to understand it as a concept, as a tool, as an ability that we all have, in a way that I could put my hands around it, have form to it. And literally the way that I learned to read energy was through this program where every Thursday we would have a practice call for an hour and a half. And at the time I was working full-time for a construction company, which uses energy in a different way, right? They use energy to make buildings, but they do it through machines and computers and labor and people. They don't visualize it and dream it into existence. And so I knew I wanted to take this program. I knew it was going to be this next step of learning this tool that was so critical for me. And yet Thursdays, I'm in an office. And so how do you practice and apply and learn this thing with a required call right in the middle of, you know, an obligation I already had to this other journey I was on, to this way that I made money, that I brought income in to support my children and I. And so it's so funny how we can make things happen if we want them badly enough, right? I went to my boss and said, I have this program I want to be a part of, and it's going to require that I stop what I'm doing on Thursdays and be fully on this call for an hour and a half. Would you be willing to try and support that happening? And I was in marketing, so we had proposals and deadlines due, and, you know, you can't just make things work around a certain time of a week every single week. And I was so firm in my knowing. And so he said, okay, but, you know, if something comes up, you know, we're priority. That's second. And, of course, the guilt kicks in because I'm claiming something for myself. So I would skip my lunch that day, and I would work 4 or 5 hours extra in the week to make sure that they knew I was really committed to the job. And then I had that beautiful woman who I just was sharing, who leaned her forehead against mine in energy space recently. She was my assistant at the time, and she sat outside my office door and guarded the door, right? Her soul knew that I needed that to happen. And she would hold space for me. She wouldn't let anyone come in, and she would ask at the end of it when I came out, and I was flying from the magic of learning to read energy. She would ask me to explain and tell her and share, and she encouraged me, right? All of that, 9 months 9 months, that beautiful Denise held space for me while I went through that program and did what I needed. And the whole time, I was just doing it in hiding in this little office. I had my world that was out there, and I had this magic I was doing in my office, and then maybe sharing with my friends, right? And I feel like many of us do that in community. We have these pockets where we're in our brilliance, and then the rest of the way that we operate in life that perhaps is hiding or smaller or filtered, right? Filtered, shielded, shrouded. And so the work for me, and I share all of this as a bridge or a contrast, right, so that you have insight into your own space. The bridge for me was to trust that world I was creating, that magical world where I knew I was soaring, right? Love was growing inside of me and inside of those tools. And trusting that a little bit more all the time is what allowed me to start to merge more and more the communities that I play in. And the part that I was looking at this morning, we all have different ways and paces and momentum in our lives, in our journeys of how we want to evolve, how we want to move through to the core, the genius of our gifts. And if someone had pushed me at the time I was learning to read energy, or judged me, or put roadblock after roadblock up, perhaps I would have given up, right? If I hadn't trusted the integrity that was inside of me that said, yes, yes, this, yes, perhaps I would have paused or slowed the throttle down even more. And it would have been perfect if that had happened. It wouldn't have been wrong. And the momentum, it's like a throttle is what it feels like inside of me. The throttle just gathered steam inside because the trust kept growing. I could see how the energy tools I was learning were improving what was happening in my relationships with my children. It was strengthening my voice and my ability to speak up to my bosses and put boundaries around myself. I could use, muscle testing was one of the first things I played with, and I could use muscle testing to understand, ways that people were engaging with me, check in that I wasn't wrong in how I was looking at a situation. And the more I used the things I was learning, the more I trusted them, the faster the momentum seemed to pick up. Right? There was this speed that started to develop inside of my body. The more I did it, the more I did it, the more I did it, the better it felt, the more I did it. Right? Abraham Hicks is so good when she goes on a rampage and you can feel yourself picking up the speed with the energy, the drive that she creates. There is a momentum that happens as you put your attention on it, and it starts to grow. Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. And eventually what happens is sort of like we were feeling at the beginning of the call, you outgrow your own energy space a little bit. You're bumping up against the edges of your space, and it's like, I need more room, right? I need more room. I can't stretch my arms or my wings out in the space. I need more. And so perhaps you have to ground in deeper to allow your tree to get taller. Perhaps you have to push other people's energies a little further away from your space, your core, so you can find some more breathing room. Right? Perhaps you have to release other people's stuff out of your space so you can start to go, yeah, that one's mine. And I trust that that's mine because I can feel it inside of me. And it's not going away no matter what I do. The momentum is picking up and I can feel that inside. My heart's beating faster. I'm more excited. I know that's mine. My body is telling me that that belongs to me. And what I need is more room to grow and stretch. And sometimes when that happens in community, we bump up against other people and they say, I don't think you need that much room. Get smaller, right? Don't shine your brilliance. Don't make so much noise. And they try to squish you back down. It's just a contrast. It's just a test of how much you want to keep stretching. Right? So sometimes that it makes you want to go into hiding, right? That happened to me last year. It's like, oh, ouch, everyone's telling me no, I shouldn't do that. And so I'm going to curl back inside for a moment like in a cocoon, and I'm going to really tune into what's my core, which pieces of those are all me and not somebody else. And so you spend time meditating, reflecting, internally checking in. And when that starts to happen, there's this judgment sometimes that we give ourselves like, oh, you're doing it wrong, or you're bad, or you're not growing, or you're not stretching. To me, that is the most exciting of times when you feel that need to go and curl up and check in and just be with you, because on the other side of that is huge expansion. Huge expansion. And I know that because I've done that. I've been doing that, right? When you curl in really tight and you get so clear on who you are, you develop this core strength inside of your body that says, I know my truth. I trust this inside of me more than anything anyone around is saying to me. And from that space, your momentum is going to take you exactly where it is you want to go, because the trust is building up steam. So take a moment. Anything that's come up as I've said all of that, just run it to the center of your body. If it's something that's strengthening you, you can keep it and feel yourself stiffening up, straightening, stretching. If it feels like it's prickly, not serving, bothering you, whatever, send it down and out into the earth. And just let it be energy that's moving. Good. All right, so knowing that first and foremost it's our work, right? It's me, how I was showing up in my community, what I knew I wanted to become was the first step. When you start to define that and clarify it, then you're in these communities and you either resonate or you don't, right? And it starts to become clearer and clearer. So, for example, I was doing my muscle testing when I was working at the construction company. And I would want to practice like what sort of personality templates people had, what I call now soul filters, what their soul filters were. And so I would go to my meetings, right? I had these staff meetings. I would go to my meetings and I would look around the room and I would see how the filters were sort of playing in people's lives. And then under the table, I would put my fingers out and I'd start muscle testing to see, I wonder what their filter is, and their filter, and their filter, and their filter. And then I would trust what the muscle testing was showing me. And then in my regular interactions with them, I would sort of play with it, right? Like, is that true? Does that feel true to me? I wouldn't tell them, right? That would just blow the community apart. I wouldn't tell them, but I would slowly in my way start to integrate it. The more I did it, the more I trusted it, the bolder I got. So I had a boss who I adored who was going to be moving. He was leaving our office and going to another office, and I really just loved this man. And he came in the week after he announced he was leaving, and he had this terrible case of pink eye in both eyes, and he could barely see, and he was telling me how awful the weekend had been, and he just hadn't been able to do anything, and being bold and brave, I was like, well, in Heal Your Life, pink eye actually represents not wanting to look at what's in front of you. And he looked at me and he was like, what? I don't understand what you mean. What is this you're saying to me? What? And I realized he wasn't ready, right? I was trying to bring in this gift into a community that didn't quite resonate with how my gifts could be shared. So again, you have a choice, right? In that moment, I could choose to go, my gifts must be wrong, so I'm not going to share them anymore. I'm going to shrink. I'm going to get small. I'm going to stop my momentum. Or you could say, as I did, it's not resonating in this community. Perhaps I need to explore other communities. Perhaps I need to find places where I resonate more. That doesn't mean I don't love those people or I don't communicate or share other aspects of myself, but the truest version of me perhaps isn't resonating anymore in the same way with who they are in this moment. And so that defining interaction is what put me on the path to not staying there, right? To following energy tools more and more into the next phase of what my work would be. So if that's you, right, if that feels like you, like I'm in this community and I'm not so sure that the community is the right match, we're going to explore that a little bit. So feel your grounding underneath your feet. Allow the pathways to stay open. And what I'm going to do is mention a few places I would imagine you might be in community. I'm going to pause after each one and let you check in, right? If it's a place that you are in a community like that, I want you to first feel the vibration, the energy, the momentum of the community that I mentioned, right? What is the form, if you could give form to it, of that community? I think we'll do it one by one. So I'll mention that community. If it's a match for you, go into it. Feel what that resonance is like. And then we'll invite your energy into that community and see what the friction might be, what the alignment might feel like. Right? We'll just kind of play. If you aren't in a community like that one, you can just play with one we said before or picture one of your own. So let's start with family. Everybody has a family. Go ahead and imagine you can visualize your family in front of you. So it could be just your parents and siblings if you have some. It could be your family if you are a husband or a wife and have children, or if you're a husband and wife without children. If you want to think bigger, it could be your extended family, so any siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever. Go ahead and just picture family in whatever form you would like to in front of you. Yeah, give them a color, a shape, a feeling as a collective group. Yeah. Notice if they're grounded or ungrounded. So feel how grounded you are, and then look or sense where they are in relationship to that. Are they in front of you, up high in the sky, and you're trying to pull them down? Down low, and it feels like you're trying to pull them up? Don't judge it. Don't evaluate it. Just notice. Bring awareness to it. Yeah? And then imagine you can bring your energy into that collective space. It can be gently. It can be a big jump, whatever feels right. Yeah, so what I notice is I fall into my family, right? Like it feels very safe. It feels very loving. There's a couple prickly parts, but not much. Mostly I can just, right, swan dive right into it. For so many of my clients and friends, that is not the case, right? So notice what it currently feels like. Good, and then pull your energy back out for right now. So this isn't about fixing it or changing it in this moment. It's about bringing awareness to this one community that is so important in every person's life. Whether you're a part of it or not, it's an important framework for your life. All right, go ahead and move family away. So imagine you just blow and send the family energy off to the side somewhere. And this is good practice. Feel just you again. Yeah, pull your energy back into you. Ground. Feel your roots underneath you. Yes, such good practice. Such good practice. So go ahead and just feel your energy. All right, let's visualize in front of you your work. If you're working full-time, part-time, if you're a coach, if your work is in your house, if you're taking care of family or people or a home, right? Whatever you feel like, this is my work that I do, right? Put it in quotes, my work, my job. Feel the community in front of you that represents work, right? So for me, it's like I visualize a phone, a computer, right? Work is very virtual for me, so it's not like I have a physical space that I step into. It's more an energetic with people on the other side meeting me in the energy space, right? Before, when I was a stay-at-home mama, my work was the house with these two little people that would run around and need so much from me, right? Like they were my work. When I was at the construction company, work was this widespread building block thing of like lots of people, intense, heavy deadlines, right? Like the energy of work can be so different. Notice what it is for you right now. Give it a form or a structure, a color, a vibrancy out in front of you. See it as the community of work that you participate in, whatever that form is. And then bring your energy into that community. And just notice, bring awareness to how you feel as you do that. Yeah. Notice if it, for me when I was at the construction company, it became a tornado almost. I would bring my energy in and I would feel myself getting ungrounded and spinning, right? And so a lot of my practice of energy tools in that environment was grounding, releasing, grounding, releasing, grounding, grounding, right? If you have lots of children that you're taking care of, it might feel the same way, tornado energy, right? We call in the work that is going to push us, stretch us. So feel what your energy is like in that community. Yep. Good. Pull your energy back into you. Blow that community out. Yep. Okay, feel you again, just you. You might need to do some cutting of connections, like a big waterfall all around your energy space for a moment so you really separate from that big energy if work feels big to you. Pull all of you back into you and feel you again. Yeah, if there's stuff that you need to release that came up, run the energy down to your feet, into the earth. Good. All right, let's go to your educational, perhaps, environment. So maybe you're a student, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a parent, of students, right? They're going to an educational facility. Go ahead and just feel. If that's you, let's look at that for a moment. If it isn't, just sit for a moment or picture a different community that you're in. Put that out in front of you. Right? So for me, my children go to school, and so I can feel the container that they are in and all the judgment that I have about that container, right? Like, is it safe? Are they being challenged? What do they need there? Are they getting what they need there? Right? All this emotion of the community. So feel that container. Bring your energy into the container and notice what comes up inside of you as you do that. It's so funny for me. I'm like, I don't even want to go in. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it. Right? Like, ugh. So notice if you have resistance. Yeah, good. All right, pull your energy out of that container. I love that that's the shortest one we did. It's the one I do not want to be in. Pull your energy back into you. Breathe that container away from you. Yeah. And then notice your energy again. So anything that comes up in you, run it at your feet into the earth. Just feel you again. All right, and then the next one I'm going to give it whatever title feels right to you. This is one you can probably come back and do 4 or 5 or 10 different versions of this community. I'm going to call it your interests, right? Your interests. So perhaps it's religious, it's political, it's spiritual, it's educational, but in a different way than what we just looked at. Perhaps it's where you do your dreaming or your creating. Just pick one of them. You can come back and do this over and over. Pick one of those communities. Right? It could be one that inspires you. It could be one that challenges you. Go ahead and visualize that community out in front of you. For me, it's sort of represented by Facebook, right? Like I see Facebook as this energy out in front of me, and it has all these pockets I can hop in and out of. It's also all my friends, my extended family, right? It's this way I can stay in touch with other people, again, virtual. So just pick one of the communities, put it in front of you, give it a form, a shape, an energy. See it as it is before you bring your energy into it. Right? So try keep you in you for a moment. Don't jump right in. See the community as a whole. Feel the pulse that it has, if it's fast or slow. Look to see if it's grounded or ungrounded. And if you don't see energy when we do this, you can sense or feel whether it's equal playing fields or lower or higher vibration, right? Just feel in your body what that would feel like. Good. And then bring your energy into that container. So for me, when I enter Facebook, literally it's like all of my merging just goes straight into all those different groups immediately, and I'm tracking and feeling and wondering what that person's sensing and what that person's experience is like, right? It's like a sponge. It sponges me in, right? I'm like the water, and I go into the sponge, and it soaks all of me in. So notice whatever your feeling is when you step into that space. Feel it in your body physically. Good. And then notice if it is expanding you, contracting you, challenging you, if it's speeding up your momentum or slowing down your momentum. Yeah, notice anything that community that you stepped into brings up inside of you. Good. Yeah, and you can come back to this over and over. for now, go ahead, pull your energy out of that community, bring it back into you. Go ahead and breathe that community away. And this is sometimes the hardest one. Maybe it's just for me, but feel just you again. Just you. So you might need to do more grounding. Right? You might need to run energy through you. You might need to push energy out a little bit so that you can just feel your breath, your body, your own energy. I sometimes feel that way when I get done on Facebook. I'm like, oh, right? Like I need to stand up and like move or shake or release because I've absorbed from other people's stories what their emotions must be or what they need, and it just feels dense. It feels really dense. And so often I have to, when I notice it, because I'm getting clearer and clearer on what my energy normally feels like, naturally feels like, when I don't feel that, I can notice and start to shift and push away, release the things that aren't mine. So in this moment, see if you can feel the core of who you are, the you that's been consistent as you've gone through each of these communities. Anything that doesn't feel like it's fully yours or the version of you you're wanting to be in this moment, go ahead and run it out through your feet into the earth. Slow down your breathing. And give yourself a little bit more space. So push away the edges again so you can just feel you. Good work. All right, I feel like there's hours worth of stuff we still need to look for that, but we're getting close on time. My invitation for you is perhaps in your meditation this week to explore how you currently are showing up in those communities versus how you would love to be showing up in those communities, right? So for me, transparency, consistency, those have been things that I've really been working on these last couple of years. And so the more and more I trust me, the center that is me, the clearer and clearer I can show up in all of the communities and spaces that I engage in, the less I feel the need to hide or shrink or be small. Right? So the invitation for you this week is spend some time looking at that. Be really honest with yourself about how you want to be in those communities, how you currently are. And then ask Source, ask your guides to help you with that bridge, that difference between the two. All right, so let's run some energy to fill up as we get ready to close the call. So I want you to feel your feet on the floor. Release anything in this moment that is ready to go down and out into the earth. Use your breath. Yep. And then feel how deep those roots went when you were visualizing them. As far as they went, it was perfect. And imagine now the earth that was sucking or helping the energy move down and out this whole call can reverse direction. So the earth can push the switch that says, yeah, good work. You've given me the stuff that I need to recycle. You've given me the fertilization for the compost. I'm now going to reverse the direction and send up into your feet purified energy. I know I always think of the waves, like the ocean waves, the purest of salt water. Right? Whatever feels good to you, imagine your feet can start to suck from the bottoms of the feet all of the nutrients, the energy, the support that the earth wants to give you in this moment, give all of us. Imagine it can run up your legs into your knees. You choose how much you want to receive of it, right? You can have a trickle or you can have an absolute waterfall in reverse. Go ahead and bring it all the way up into your hips. Imagine you can feel it running through the chakras. So it starts to come in through the first, filling it up, in through the second, swirling, whirling, into the third, filling. Running all the way up into the heart space if you want, or around if it feels tender. all the way up into the throat chakra, rinsing all the way through, filling with gold and nutrients from the earth, all the way up into the third eye, rinsing that chakra, going all the way up through to the crown, and then whale spouting out the top of the crown. And all of that extra energy from the earth can just run like water all the way down and around the outside of your body. You can relax all the muscles, relax all the bones, and just feel all the extra earth energy going back down to the earth, being soaked in around your feet. And you can just run that as often as you would like. Good work. Yeah, as I sit here in this beautiful community, feeling all the love that is flowing around physically, virtually. So much love from me to each of you.